As of typing the script, Pokemon Winds and Waves were officially announced less than 3 hours ago. I watched the trailer as it was airing, and the games look gorgeous. There's a lot to be excited about, but I wanted to go over my hopes for the games to get my own thoughts in order and maybe spark some discussion with my admittedly very limited platform. So, getting right into it, this is what I want to see from Pokemon Generation 10. Pokemon has struggled greatly with character customization for nearly as long as it's been a feature in the games. As of yet, Legends ZA is the best customization has ever been, but I think it can still be better. The game unequivocally had the most stylish looking clothing designs in the series, and every clothing item was available to both genders. Legends ZA is a strong base, but it falls short in some aspects in my opinion. Notably, you can't effectively mix and match your tops. Going back to Sword and Shield, the clothes themselves were less interesting, but having the ability to choose my shirt as well as what went over it was really fun. But in ZA, you're stuck with whatever selection of shirts that specific jacket is assigned to. I remember seeing a jacket in that game that I really liked. It had nice colors and a cool design, but it was attached to a tube top. No shade to anyone who likes wearing tube tops, but I personally don't. And not having access to that otherwise cool jacket because of the shirt under it was disappointing for me. Additionally, the hair customization in ZA was very in-depth, but it doesn't escape the problem Pokemon games have had for a while now. The hair options, especially for black and male characters, are incredibly limited. Look at the hairstyles for boy and girl characters in Scarlet and Violet, and then look at the options for textured hair. The textured hair, as I understand it, has lagged behind in gaming due to technical limitations when generating it that I'm not smart enough to understand, but a large portion of it comes down to lack of creativity when providing hair options, which sucks because outside of clothes, hair is maybe the main way people express themselves visually. The male character seems to have longer hair as a default, which gives me hope that options might be more fleshed out, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. And finally, I want to see an expansion of Scarlet and Violet's facial customization. These games didn't get much right in the customization field, but by a wide margin, they had the most options for your character's actual face. ZA saw a toned down version of this with fewer options overall, but it could be great. Give us different nose options, different ear sizes, different jawlines. Stuff like this could lead to everyone's player character being truly unique. And while we're at it, give us more than 3 skin tone options, like give us a slider or something, come on. I've been thinking a lot about how I want us as the trainer to interact with our Pokemon, and by extension, the world around us. People have gone on and on about how the follow-along mechanic has been poorly handled since Let's Go, and I more or less agree. Of course, I'd like to see that implemented fully in a modern Pokemon game, but I had some other ideas as well. I'm going to be lightly touching on some leaks from a few months back, so skip to the timecode if you don't want to hear anything that hasn't been officially revealed. It seems as though the player will be able to ride on a Rotom scooter. It looks like it will hover a few feet off the ground and potentially go underwater / in the air. I've seen people say that they don't like the mechanic and they'd rather ride directly on top of the Pokemon, and I half agree. I certainly would rather ride on my Pokemon's back than trail behind, but I don't think the scooter idea is without merit. Essentially, the scooter would allow you to use any Pokemon to traverse the world without resorting to amorphous bird / fish-shaped objects. I mean, without the scooter, they need to either give you specific Pokemon to traverse with or somehow justify riding on the back of a 1-foot-tall Pidgey. Personally, I prefer to use the Pokemon on my team to get around, as opposed to the pager mechanic like in Sun and Moon, using other random Pokemon that aren't mine. But see, I think there's a way to fix this, and to my knowledge, the solution goes all the way back to Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. In those games, the random shadowy blobs present in all the other games were still present when flying or surfing, with a few notable exceptions. If you had a Wailmer, Sharpedo, or Kyogre that knew Surf, that Pokemon would appear in the overworld when using that HM. And of course, the Eon Flute allowed you to call upon a Mega Latios or Latias to fly across the skies of Hoenn. This mechanic was further expanded upon in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Moves for getting around were taught to your partner Pikachu or Eevee. If you need to fly, you got a little bicycle attached to some balloons. Need to surf? Pikachu will hop on a little surfboard to ferry you across the water. You know, it's cute. However, Pokemon like Gyarados or Lapras in your party would replace the surfing animation, allowing you to ride on their backs instead. Additionally, many larger Pokemon would let you ride on top of them on land, and flying Pokemon like Charizard and Aerodactyl would let you fly above the roots to encounter airborne Pokemon after beating the League. So, why can't the same be possible now in Generation 10? The spoiler that shall not be named could act as the default traversal method, compatible with any Pokemon. but certain Pokemon would instead let you ride directly on top of them, like, I don't know, a Crobat or a Mantine, moving faster than normal. Also, we've seen examples of certain Pokemon being bright enough to glow in dark places. What if there was a cave too dark to see in, and you were equipped with a The Last of Us style flashlight to see directly in front of you? But interacting with certain Pokemon when following you who are known to glow, like an electric type or a fire type with an open flame, could naturally light up the area to give you a view of your surroundings. Stuff like this would not only make the games more immersive, but they'd give you a tangible advantage to working with your Pokemon without barring progression if you don't have a certain type on your team. These were just a handful of ideas I had that I thought would make for an even better game. I could probably find more to say, but I've never made a video like this, and I don't want to go overboard. If you made it this far, tell me what you think, and consider subscribing or whatever. I don't have anything else to say. Bye!